It just gets better from here. John Wick Chapter 2 was released in 2017, once again directed by Chad Stahelski, and it starred Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick, Ruby Rose, Common, Lawrence Fishburne, and Ricardo Scamarchio. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Either way, yeah, the first movie was a smash hit. Really kind of a sleeper hit because, like I said, nobody really had any knowledge of the first one when it first came out. It was released, no marketing whatsoever. It was expected to bomb, but it was a smash hit, so a sequel was obviously fast tracked. So here is my review for said sequel. And starting off with the good, and this movie is just as great as the first one. I won't say this one's better than the first one. It's just as great as the first one, and it really shows. First of all, Keanu Reeves is back as John Wick, and he absolutely nails the character, as he has since day one and continues to. He's just absolutely synonymous with the character of John Wick at this point. Anytime I see Keanu Reeves, I think John Wick. I know that every generation's got their specific Keanu Reeves performance. Like, older generations got Bill and Ted, middle generations got The Matrix. My generation has John Wick to remember him by, and that's just a really great thing about Keanu Reeves. But he does absolutely terrific in this movie. He's not really on the more emotional side of the character in this one. This one is much more of a rage-filled John Wick, just out for blood at this point, by the midway point of this movie. But he still does get some really good emotional scenes, specifically in the first half of the movie. And then you have the rest of the returning cast. First, you have Ian McShane as Winston, and he does a really great job as well. He gets a lot more to do, a lot more scenes in this movie, and I really like his scenes, especially with Keanu Reeves. I just really love their chemistry together and their conversations. And also, you have Lance Reddick back as Sharon, and he is absolutely terrific as well. Lance Reddick, like I said, recently passed away. It's a very, very sad thing because he, along with John Wick, is my favorite character in these movies. And Lance Reddick gets a lot more to do as Sharon in this movie. The character actually gets a name in this movie, where in the first one he was just called Hotel Concierge in the credits. But he actually gets more dialogue with John Wick. He even watches John Wick's new dog throughout the story. And the final scene between him and John Wick in the movie, really, really great. And now, moving on from the supporting cast, we have some newcomers. First, you have Ricardo Scamarchio as the new villain of this movie, Santino D'Antonio. And he does a really great job. He's not a more calculated villain like Vigo was in the first one. He's just kind of a shithead who just tries to take advantage of whatever situation he creates. I really like the way he plays the character. He's such a snide little bastard that you can't help but hate him. But he played the role really well. And then you have two supporting villains in this movie. First, you have Ruby Rose as, I believe the character's name was Ares, who is a silent assassin. The character was either deaf or mute or both. I can't remember, but Ruby Rose played the character very, very well. Had some really badass action scenes, especially the final fight between the character and John Wick in the mirror maze. Really kind of a shorter fight, but still a really badass fight. Ruby Rose definitely kicks ass. I really want to see Ruby Rose do more stuff outside of that terrible CW Arrowverse that they tried and unfortunately failed. She left after one season anyway. I did like her in the Meg. She was really good in the Meg. Hopefully she's in the sequel. But also you have Common in this movie, and he's kind of the main physical threat to John Wick in this movie, because he's the one that John Wick is fighting mostly throughout this movie, and he does a really great job. I kind of wish that Common was in more big budget movies, because outside of this, the only big budget movies I can think of that he was in was Suicide Squad, which was terrible, and he was only in it for like 5 minutes, and Run All Night, which was actually a really good movie, but they didn't make sequels off it because, you know, they kind of killed off Liam Neeson's character. That's aside from the point. Common does a really great job in this movie, and it's kind of a shame that he didn't come back for Chapter 3, and as far as I know, has not come back for Chapter 4, because he was a really fun screen presence, and I would have loved to see more of his character. Who knows? Maybe he is in 4, or maybe he'll be back for 5 if 5 ever gets made. But yeah, really love Common. And then the final newcomer to this franchise, you have Lawrence Fishburne as the Bowery King. And Lawrence Fishburne is just one of those actors who shows up, knows what he's doing, has fun with it, and goes home. And I just really love that about Lawrence Fishburne, especially with the way he plays the Bowery King. He's obviously having fun. He's chewing up the scenery. He's stealing the show from everybody he shares the screen with. Absolutely terrific performance. Really glad they brought him back for Chapter 3. And he's coming back for Chapter 4 as well. Just really excited to see more of the Bowery King in Chapter 4. And that's outside of the characters. Story here is really great. It's a lot more complex because John Wick is now trying to retire once again, but he's brought back in by Santino D'Antonio, who he owes a debt to kill his sister so he can become a high table member. And this is the first real introduction to the high table within this franchise, because the high table is like the Illuminati of the John Wick franchise. And really interesting the way it all plays out. And also, once John Wick finishes that mission, D'Antonio puts out a hit on him to cover his ass and go, hey, this guy murdered my sister, kill him. So he didn't get in trouble for actually ordering the hit. But yeah, really great. And by the halfway point of this movie, once the hit goes out, all hell breaks loose. Everybody's after John Wick. He's got to fight off just about every hitman he comes in contact with. It's really a battle royale, and it gets even crazier in the third one, which we will talk about tomorrow. But I just really love the way it all plays out, all the way to the ending where he kills D'Antonio, but it breaks the rules because he did it on continental grounds, which leaves off a really great cliffhanger that leads right into Chapter 3, which, again, we'll talk about tomorrow. And the action scenes, absolutely terrific. They're very kick-ass, very clean-cut, very well edited. Very, very good movie magic with the way they cut and edit these scenes. It's just so realistic looking that it's crazy. It's just really, really great. And then obviously you have the score and the soundtrack, like with a John Wick movie, absolutely terrific. And the lighting and the color grading just absolutely looks gorgeous. And that's about all for the good. On to the bad. And I'm not even going to waste your time. There's nothing bad about John Wick Chapter 2. There's nothing bad about any John Wick movie. But final thoughts. John Wick Chapter 2 is on the same level as the first one, in my opinion. It's not better than the first one. It's just as great. And yeah, John Wick Chapter 2 is a fun as hell action film. Solidify that the John Wick franchise is going to be a household franchise for years to come, and I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So that was my review for John Wick Chapter 2. Have you seen this movie? What did you think about it if you have seen it? As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.